If God exists, why doesn't he just show himself? Why some people desperately search for God and still cannot believe? In philosophy, this became one of the strongest arguments against the existence of God. It's called the argument from divine hiddenness, and it goes like this. If a perfectly loving God exists, he would want a relationship with every person willing to have one. But you can't have a relationship with someone if you don't believe they exist. So, if sincere people search for God, stay open to him, and still cannot believe, then a perfectly loving God probably does not exist. So people ask, why doesn't God just reveal himself undeniably? And most people imagine that will solve everything. But would it? Let's say God undeniably revealed himself tomorrow. Just once. You wouldn't see him floating every day in the sky at the stroke of noon. Every human being on earth suddenly knows with certainty God exists. Now what? Would hatred disappear? Would greed disappear? What about violence or wars? Of course not. Because humanity's deepest problem is not lack of information about God. It's human nature itself. People assume certainty about God's existence would naturally create sincere relationships with him. But that's not true. Christianity, after all, already contains a being with absolute certainty of God's existence who still rebels against him and hates him. Satan. Because knowing the truth doesn't make people good. And if God revealed himself, many would worship him. That much is true. But how many would be sincere? Some would kneel out of fear. Some out of ambition. Some would resent him openly, and others would use religion to gain power. After all, we all know how easily truth bends when money and power are at stake. So why would divine revelation suddenly change human nature? It wouldn't. It would only place infinite authority into the hands of man. And history has already shown us where that leads. In the best case scenario, humanity stays broken as it is. And in the worst case, it becomes something far more terrifying. But at this point, someone could reasonably say, fine, maybe a relation to all humanity could create more harm than good. But why doesn't he reveal himself privately to sincere seekers? Why remain hidden from people who desperately want to find him? That's a good question, and I think there are at least two possible answers. First, since God exists outside of time and sees every possible consequence of every human action, timing is really important. What we may experience as silence may simply mean it's not time yet. And second, selective undeniable revelation creates another problem entirely. Because if God grants overwhelming certainty only to certain individuals, without a specific purpose behind it, then questions of fairness immediately appear. Why them? Why not everyone? Why not me? And since God is just, he can't treat revelations as free samples in a supermarket. For some people, divine hiddenness is exactly what we should expect if a loving God did not exist. But maybe the opposite is true. Maybe hiddenness is exactly where an omniscient God would choose to position himself on an infinite chessboard of possibilities. If you want to dive deeper into divine hiddenness, check out this video up here. And if you don't see anything, maybe it's just not time yet.